Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting ready for our second series of the day, and it's going to be a banger. Because I know we tried not to use that word as much anymore because it gets overplayed and it gets overused, and therefore it loses the value. But I'm telling you, this is going to be the creme de la crop. This will be the best one of the day. You know why? Because it's 100 Thieves Academy taking on TSM Academy. Now, we are assuming, we are working on the assumption that we're going to be seeing Takeover in this roster. And no disrespect to Sword, but Takeover on this roster has elevated this squad to insanely new heights. Hey! And we got Takeover! All right, we get the full bells and whistles, the full pyrotechnics, the fireworks are popping off just in time after the events of Independence Day here in the United States. So, it's Max. Let's go, dude.
All right, I'm gonna throw some numbers at you real quick. And
okay, I'm ready. Hit me with them.
I'm just using this to show you how excited I am for Takeover. So, for
okay.
TSM Academy, they are currently sitting at 9-11 in their scoreline in games. Right?
Okay. Peepo G. Okay.
With Takeover on this team, they are 6-2. That is a 75% win rate.
Ooh.
That is the win rate of 100 Thieves. Their team. 100 Thieves Academy are at 75% win rate as well. So, by those numbers, Takeover on TSM Academy is as good as 100 Thieves Academy. The numbers don't lie, Roth. We're in
it's that simple.
For a treat. We're in for a banger, as you said. And I personally cannot wait for this one. Takeover has been such a breath of fresh air for this team, and the reason for that is just how many skirmisher and bruiser and brawler games that he is playing. Last week, he played just the last week that he was playing, he just dropped 4 Lee Sin games on us. That's 4 out of 4 games in a single week. He just played Lee Sin like it was nothing, and it was crazy. He opened up Hyper to play these AP junglers like Diana and Rumble. And for Cody-san as well, he got to sit back and watch his team crush everyone and then be the late game carry that we know he can be. So I'm very excited that we got Takeover in this one. This makes the TSM games very, very fun.
You know, we are giving a lot of hype and prestige to this TSM Academy roster because they're playing against the best Academy team right now, which is 100 Thieves Academy. And this roster, you know, 100 Thieves overall have been doing pretty damn well across all of their teams here. LCS, number 1. Academy, number 1. 100 Thieves next in the semi-pro. They haven't been doing the best compared to the rest of the semi-pro teams, but they have made great improvements. They've made great strides, and they are going to be getting ready for their EGL qualifiers for the final Proving Grounds tournament, which is also going on right now during the open qualifiers. So, you know, I know we'll be having to catch up with that on our own time after the Academy broadcast is done, but we just blazed through the pick and ban phase, and already a lot of powerful picks taken off the table. Xin Zhao, Nocturne, Gwen, Lulu, Lee Sin, Karma. No enchanters, no powerful flex fighters. There's still a Viego up on the table, and I think that's pretty much it when it comes to so far 100% presence pick and ban rates.
Viego is still here, but all right. No but at all. It actually is just going to be locked in right away. 100 Academy did ban away 3 of those 4 really potent first pick champions, but only get 3 bans. So Viego's going to bleed on through, and now we just get the tour of what Tenacity decides is a fun champion to hover today. But Viego is very powerful. Like I was talking about before, it was nerfed in the mid lane and top lane to give it more power in jungle, but it's still very potent in those roles. But Instalock Mundo, Rafa, and if I remember correctly, you have a story for us about Tenacity's Mundo.
Yeah, with I want to wait and see what TSM Academy lock in first before we delve into story time, because we can do that during the second pick and ban phase when we get through the bans. But Akali being locked in, this is a champion that I imagine Takeover is also very adept at. And if we are setting up for potentially AP solo laners for Haunter and Takeover, then this Viego, who you mentioned at the top of the day here, Viego did get a pretty substantial buff in the jungle, being able to have a little bit more sustain and increase their ability to skirmish a bit. So now with this Renekton pick, we're going to be getting a Viego jungle. It's not going to be quite AP solo laners, but the damage profile is still mixed up enough that you are having a pretty balanced damage profile.
Maybe this means that Cody-san is delving into the Prismal school of thought with the Ziggs, but we'll save that for a little bit later. We do now have the Lucian lock-in, very likely going to be Yoma, and so far 100 Academy are just locking in their champions one by one in their intended role. And this blind pick Dr. Mundo is one that I am really excited to see how Tenacity is going to operate on this one. And
all right,
well, let's get into it right now because I laughed so much.
Pull up a chair, ladies and gentlemen. If you missed out on I think it was last week on Academy, where 100 Thieves Academy locked in Mundo, and then Desrex and Joshi, who were casting the match, then got to ask Tenacity after the post-game series in Game 2, and they said, hey, yeah, we noticed you picked up the Mundo and you managed to get a solo kill. How much time you've been putting into it, or what was the thought behind it? And Milan, or Tenacity, answered, yeah, we needed a tank, and Mundo sounded good, but this was my first time playing it on stage. And Desrex and Joshi are like, what? What do you mean you just first picked it? It's like, yeah, I'm reading the ability names as I walk to lane, and then I've got a solo kill. So the amount of confidence you got to have to do that and to walk away and swag out like a boss, it just goes to show how good 100 Thieves Academy are feeling right now in this split. We get through the pick and ban phase. 80 carries have been taken off the table, leaving Luger up for this top of the tier when it comes to safety. Marksman, Ezreal, and then Kai Sonatos being answered back, Braum being locked in. Wow, that was a quick draft, Smacks.
The exciting thing about this Dr. Mundo blind to me is that in the time since he first picked it on the Academy stage and now, he clearly has a lot of confidence in this particular champion. This was just reworked. They just gave this champion a lot of extra power, and he's just blind picking it immediately. Even into the Viego, which you would think is not a very good matchup for him because Viego does deal a lot of % health damage. So this is very interesting to see for me, but what's more interesting is the rest of this 100 Thieves Academy draft they've gone for is also a blind pick of the Diana in the jungle here for Kenvi, as Xin Zhao was taken off the board, Nocturne was taken off the board. Feels like Kenvi's next best option there, and packing that extra punch with these melee champions, Diana, Mundo, and the Braum to round it out too. 100 Academy do have a very strong and dangerous frontline.
I will say, though, Smacks, that when it comes to engage power, 100 Thieves Academy only have one way of enabling those fights, and that's all in the back of Kenvi. He is Luna rushing in solo with a Moonfall and hoping that Ryoma and Luger from a distance can follow up either with the culling or just Mystic Shots, and all of Ezreal's kit. Because I imagine these team fights that Tenacity is either going to be looking for flanks to try and isolate Cody-san and threaten, as Dr. Mundo's role in the past was never necessarily a team fight engager, because you don't have any strong crowd control. You just have slows off of this Q, right? Your main goal is just to try and be a disruptor and distract the ADC and buy time for your backline to wipe out the front line of the opposition.
Crowd control may be limited here for 100 Thieves Academy, but that has not stopped them in the past for finding the early advantage, finding their snowball, and crushing their opponents. Reminder that these two teams have faced already in the round robin, the first round robin. We're now in the second one. And 100 Thieves did get a 2-0 against TSM the first time that these two teams faced off. While we already saw one revenge series for Golden Guardians just a couple of games ago, for TSM, it's likely going to be a little bit more tricky, because 100 Thieves are just looking so dominant in all of their games, in all of these weeks of the Academy regular split. And like you mentioned before, the LCS team is not looking too shabby either, if I do say so myself.
100 Thieves. Early game is going to be a little bit of a quiet one, as Diana doesn't really have any strong ink setup from her solo lanes. Braum could be potential if you're able to lock them down thanks to the Concussive Blows passive, but I imagine Kenvi, being the jungler that he is, just wants to power farm, only takes skirmishes in the river if he has lane priority.
Currently he does. As you can see in the mid lane, Ryoma has already pushed takeover under that turret. The range advantage of Lucian is super huge, and extra press the attack power is crazy. I know you said that we don't want to bring it up today because it's too traumatizing, but just imagine what he could do if he was playing the new Akshanj.
Man. No. Don't do that again. God, if you want to experience actual pain, you know, you can go and read the action abilities. Yeah. In this game, though, so far, Tenacity and Haunter are already getting somewhat low. They're burning health pots, and they have the Dorn Shield to provide a little bit more sustain and health regen. Tenacity also has the benefit of opting in for Grasping the Undying, so you get to stack on health and have pseudo sustain, whereas Haunter has to build up the Conquer stacks. Hyper is here just to protect Haunter from being overextended, and he is looking to shove in this wave. Envy is on the other side of the map. Will opt for the... Well, they might actually go for a dive. Hyper's going to try to cut off this minion wave here. Tenacity is still about 500 health. Do they have enough damage to be able to get this? Oh, okay, ow. They do. I did not believe that would happen, but you know what? Hyper and Haunter made it work out.
It looked like it would have been tricky there against Tenacity, who is this big, burly tank up in the top lane, but made it look so easy. The passive for Dr. Mundo, which typically does provide you with crowd control immunity, had already been used up thanks to Haunter's W done earlier. So Tenacity, very vulnerable in that exchange. Not so vulnerable anymore, still going for these trades, but is already below half HP, and he just got back.
Yeah, this was so clean, Smags. I mean,
it really was.
I just honestly underestimated the amount of damage that came out from both of them. We know Renekton can deal a lot of burst damage, but Diego being able to have a sufficient amount of burst to clean up the kill is what caught me by surprise, and definitely caught Tenacity by surprise as well. First Blood also going over to Haunter, immediately invests into an Executioner's Calling. He's going to be great for the lane, but Kemby shows up saying, hey, back off.
Still has the flash though, so it's not quite going to be a kill in that lane. Envy just going to be walking on away, but once we're getting that first blood is a huge benefit. With that Executioner's Calling, it makes this lane even easier, and it already seemed like it was going so tremendously well. As soon as he picks up this minion wave under the turret, you're going to see just how huge the CS lead actually is. There it is, that's 8 right there. And Tenacity forced to just walk on back to lane, was making some pretty poor trades early on. I imagine with the Dr. Mundo rework that it gets a little bit easier for him later, but it's not easy now.
You have to stack quite a bit of health items. Last time Tenacity played this champion, he rushed Warmog's armor. I don't know if he is in that... I know that it was something that was kind of theory crafted and discussed as Ryoma's just going to actually try to shove out takeover here. Almost getting the solo kill. Corrupting Potion. Not going to be enough on the burn. Thankfully had that refillable pot ticking as well. That's a flash burn in the mid lane from Tommy.
Cloth diff right there for takeover. The extra armor putting in a lot of work against Ryoma and keeps him alive. But man, the CS discrepancy is just gigantic for Ryoma in this thing. Up 30, only 6 minutes in. That was tremendously close for Cody-san. He almost stole away the dragon, but he locks that one in and continues the oppression of the 100 Thieves in this first.
Ryoma on the Lucian's going to have a little bit of an easier time already getting a 20 CS differential over takeover, but I want to remind people that on his week debut, he had massive pop-off performances. The KDAs he had the highest KDA and kill participation in almost all of his games. And there are so many solo queue players that we talked to from the semi-pro scene and Proving Grounds that just give so much praise to how good takeover is and how scary he is to play, not only in lane, but also when he gets a lead, because the game just becomes his to control. So the fact that 100 Thieves, mainly Ryoma, is controlling him right now is a statement to how far ahead this team is as a whole in this split.
Very good, and The only lane that has been problematic is this top lane, and as Tenacity was dove early on by Hyper Monster, which worked tremendously well, but you have to remember that this is still Dr. Mundo. He's going to be rather effective as the game goes on, regardless of what you do in this lane, so that is something that TSM Academy have to keep in mind. They have to use that early pressure and maybe go for something else with it too. They still have a lot of skirmishing power with these champions that they've locked in, especially now that the level 6 ultimates are available. You think about what a perfect execution can do for Takeover, and start to realize that nobody on 100 Thieves is truly safe from that extra lethality and the extra assassination threat right there.
CS lead is climbing even harder and harder just because Lucian into Akali is pretty devastating for the Akali matchup, as Takeover is just trying to do his best to survive at the moment. Once he reaches his first item power spike in that mythic completion, it's a lot easier to be able to interact and assassinate some of these backline targets in Ryoma and Luger, but right now he has all the pressure in the world. The Rift Herald is spawned. Envy has already taken the time to secure it for themselves, thanks to the priority that he's gotten. Boom had already rotated as well to make sure that the Rift Herald could be secured safely, and now we will be able to get a recall. I'm going to have to see if Kenvi decides to park it in the mid lane when he gets back on the Rift, just to give Ryoma a little bit more gold and further accelerate his lead.
Envy quietly just keeping up in the pace of the CS and taking all of these neutral vectors so far. Going to be a huge benefit in the later stages of the game, and it's going to be a huge benefit for specifically Kenvi too, as this is Diana that we're talking about. This champion has such a huge power of scaling and magic damage later on too, and he's going to need to, because he is the main source of magic damage on his team, as he's getting these leads for his team, he's getting these leads for himself.
Recall comes in from Kenvi. Blasting Wall is secured, adding a little bit more firepower to potential bursts that he can get. It has been a quiet game apart from the first blood from Haunter and Hyper making that dive onto the top lane. TSM Academy have not found another plan or any opportunities to accelerate the lead further in the top lane matchup. It is a 20 CS differential for Haunter right now. Tenacity is holding on, he is surviving, and later the game goes on without any actions made by TSM Academy to push this lead further, will eventually lead into Tenacity being able to potentially outscale, and just as I say, Haunter goes in for the all-in, forcing Tenacity to pop the ultimate as well with his own. He's going to gain control of the lane once again, making the shove into the tower.
Just barely dodging out of that Ezreal ultimate there. Still gets stunned up, but good trade nonetheless by TSM Academy. They have to worry about Kenvi being in their lane now, but they've brought Hyper down. Could potentially result in a big fight. Ryoma is going a little bit into enemy territory, but spotted out. Instead, it's just going to be Terra Plate and thoughts of what could have happened if they did go.
Yeah, Kenvi is holding on to the Rift Herald, not choosing to crash it into this bottom lane structure anytime soon. Just to give you a little bit of an update, there's still 4 plates on both the mid and the bottom lane turret. So this Rift Herald crash would not take down the turrets anytime soon, but they're going to park it in mid lane. The dragon just spawned as well. Hyper's trying to see if he can start up the dragon, but now he has to react to the mid lane siege that is currently occurring.
TSM do not want to lose any more than the 2 guaranteed plates that Herald can get for herself. And by doing so, they are just swinging like a pendulum back and forth between the bot lane and the mid lane and everything in between, as there is a nice ward, full ward on the break right there. TSM know that 100 Thieves are starting this one up. The question is, can they do anything about it? Got this stealth.
Hyper doesn't get in range to be able to secure it. Oh! Yurson! Was that a Mad Life?
That was nuts. That was absolutely nuts, but... Oh!
And the action doesn't stop here
Diego?
from Hyper. He goes in for the Heartbreaker under the tower, and he's got the Unbreakable Shield. He gets out alive. Holy cannoli.
Wait!
Oh, the True Shot Barrage, he dodges out as well.
That's Viego moment right there. Just diving into the backline, under the turret, all around this huge terrain, just wall in the middle. Doesn't get the dragon. That one is secured by Kenvi, but the resets and the dives are just all made to look so easy for this Season 11 champ.
Huh. Look at this. Flash
Oh
dredge
my
line.
God.
Oh, okay. It's not necessarily a mad life because he was aiming at Kenvi, but dredge line hitbox is just is so stupid, man.
Yeah. Usually,
But it's so.
Usually, Rafa, I am one to defend the hooks as I am a support main myself, but yeah, that one was a little too much right there. I don't know. You might want to look into this. This Nautilus champion, he feels like he could use some tuning.
That, like, there's a wall that was separating the champion and the hitbox, and it just, like, it was like a magnet. It got close to Kenvi, and suddenly, yep, yoink.
You know what?
You're mine now.
The tool of Nautilus Dredge Line may be broken. It may be the most broken thing in the game, but you can't take away from Yursan that he knows how to break it even further. So, good job on Yursan. Making it look even better than it actually is. Well played on the Nautilus.
Speaking of Yursan, this player has actually been one of the more brighter spots of this roster ever since he came into the spring for TSM. You know, back then when they were waiting on Yursan to come, Fizzy was playing for this TSM Academy roster, and
Oh, my word.
Oh, that was so close. Cody Sun makes it out alive. Yursan comes in for Fizzy, and even though that... Jesus, everyone's trying to find Cody Sun. Even though Fizzy was doing super well with the TSM Academy roster, he gets taken out, everyone was wondering, oh, okay, well, Fizzy's doing well, why are you taking him out? Yursan comes in, and he makes plays like that we just saw, and he is one of the and like this, we're getting a fight that is erupting out right now. Double teleports are getting answered by both teams from 100 Thieves and TSM Academy. The fight breaks out. Heartbreaker is looking for another reset, but Luker is the one that comes out on top as Taker goes a little over too far, deep into the back line. TSM Academy are not able to answer back. 100 Thieves come out on top with that one.
And Boom live with just a smidgen of HP, and that is the difference between TSM winning that fight and losing it, because if Hyper is able to get these resets off, then it happens exactly like we saw in the bot lane play. The resets on Viego are just so insane to get for your squad, but Boom, a little bit more durable than you might expect, as we do get a rerun on what happens with Cody Sun here. This has happened to Ryoma twice in this game. You gotta feel bad. He's been so close to the solo bolo. 2 instances.
Yeah, if he had gotten one more auto attack after the Gale Force, that surely would have been it. Even Luger was trying to find him with the True Shot Barrage, and then Cody Sun just having the Sixth Sense. Just understanding, or Spidey Sense, I should say, just knowing that this was coming. But then, this was a pretty decent engage on the Luger. Hyper was ready to make the jump onto Luger. And then, this is where a little unfortunate from Takeover, as Boom does not go down.
Takeover is in the stealth all the while, but because Luger is playing this Ezreal, you can still hit Akali. As long as you know where she is, you can hit her in that shroud, even if she's stealth. One of the few champions that doesn't really care about that. So, see that one put to good use alongside the Glacial Fissure from Boom, keeping himself alive. See that the mid lane turret was taken as a result. 100 Thieves got this Rift Herald too. They're trying to keep themselves toe-to-toe with TSM, and it's working.
This won't be necessarily the first turret taken, as we already saw it in the mid lane. But 100 Thieves Academy are not that far ahead in terms of gold, but amount of structures and objectives taken. This is technically their 3rd dragon to potentially take of the game. And it would put them at Cloud Soul Point, and for TSM, they have to wrap around and contest, as You don't want to be in the situation where one more dragon leads to Soul, but it's burning down so fast here, Smack. 2,300. Hyper tries to get his line. Ooh, Spine was so close. 40 HP on the dragon, but still, Kenvi secures it. Kenvi, though, might have to take... Whoa! He finds Takeover with another Lunar Rush. Reset! And makes his way out, and TSM Academy are now on the retreat. They're on the back foot. Codyson with the quick thinking, trying to use Killer Instinct over the wall, but everyone else has a dash as well, buddy. They rout him off, and TSM Academy, another loss means that 100 Thieves Academy push their lead even further.
Kenvi, the escape artist, he goes for the magic trick. You want to see me get the dragon and get out? And it works! Despite all odds, that was beautiful stuff from Kenvi, using the opponents as springboards with the Lunar Rush on this Diana. You can tell that he's put in a lot of work, a lot of hours on the champion like this, and these are the plays that make us so excited about 100 Thieves. Watch the Dragon's health here, 40! Woo!
And it's just heads-up play from Kenvi as well. As soon as he comes out of the stasis, immediately use Takeover as the escape route. Oh my goodness. Just... Whew. Alright, back to Earth here. So this is Cloud Soul Point for 100 Thieves in the next 3.5 minutes. Takeover finds Kenvi here, but potentially gets routed off by Tenacity. He's going to have to use the Perfect Execution just as a means of escaping. The rest of TSM are ready to cut off. They find Luger here. Hyper jumps right onto it. Heartbreaker is not even necessary. And now he is Ezreal. He's going to be able to fire up with the damage, and TSM Academy find the fight back. Find 100 Thieves by surprise, and they're just ramping through. They're accelerating one by one. They are brute forcing their way through the 100 Thieves squad.
Yurson is so clutch on this Nautilus, the vision over this wall. To find that pick onto Luger. This champion is so difficult to find picks on. He has Flash, he has the Arcane Shift to get out, but Yurson goes for it anyway, and it pays off huge. 3 quick kills. The only downside is that they didn't do it a minute later. The Baron hasn't even spawned yet. That's how fast this game is going now.
So much action already in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And at this moment,
here. This is
yeah, it's waiting.
They didn't have vision of exactly where he was. They did that predicting where the movement would go based off the ward in the river. Yurson, he's got quite the head on his shoulders right there. The brains.
I know we are kind of in awe at the moment, Max, and it's just because that the past couple of fights did go into 100 Thieves' way. They are the ones with the Dragon Lead, but when you look at the two... Oh my goodness.
Serelda's Grudge
This
right there.
is Serelda's Grudge calling. We have seen this item pop up. He's flashing forward. Haunter, I don't think he has... He's not getting out alive, but Hyper's here, potentially for some revenge. He's got Heartbreaker if he needs to close the distance. Not even necessary, though. Takeover, being able to close the distance with perfect execution, and it's a huge shutdown just picked up. And now you have to wonder, between the Viego, between the Akali, these two disruptors that can dive the backline and just cause so much chaos, they're going to keep going.
Man.
There's no perfect execution from Takeover, as Yurson was trying to find the engage with the Death Charge. I think it was a little over-aggressive, a little over-eager. Thought that they were going to be able to rout out 100 Thieves, but they're the ones that turn it on its head. They're going to continue the siege, potentially hitting down this Tier 2 turret.
Sun found a lot of crowd control in that play right there, but TSM did not have any more resources to use after killing Ryoma in that bot lane play. Will lose out on the mid, and see now why Ryoma did go for that play initially. You went for the trade kill against Haunter, finds that solo kill, doesn't have Deja Vu a third time, actually does find the final hit. And the rest of 100 Thieves, seeing that the Renekton has been killed, you can just go straight for a mid lane turret, and that's exactly what they do. The lead now extended up to 1,500, and forward to the potentially final dragon for 100 Thieves, as they are just one away from the Cloud Soul, 25 seconds away from that one. Luger is just now coming out of the base, so he won't be there for the initial game of footsie that these two teams are going to be playing to try to get their foot in the door for this dragon, but going to be here eventually.
Cloud Soul is about to come up in the next 10 seconds. Monster has to make the long walk over there. Currently sitting mid lane, has no teleport available to join the fight. Tenacity is already here with the rest of the squad. Takeover is looking for a flank. Watch his positioning. If he is able to walk around 100 Thieves, he'll have access to Ryoma and Luger in the back line. And there he is. He's going to go in. He just tries to find someone, but Ryoma is just going forward onto Cody's son because there's not enough protection. But Takeover, working with Cody's son, going to be able to take down Tommy. And now Hyper and the rest of TSM Academy have routed off the members of 100 Thieves. Kenvi has already gone, already used the Moonfall, but it's just not enough. It's just a beautiful fight from TSM Academy, and they don't drop a single member.
Woo! We saw that Tenacity was trying to run down Cody's son, but he didn't end up doing it. He's the only member to stay alive as the rest of the 100 Thieves get wiped off of the map. We get to watch this one again. Again, it's opening out with these crazy long-range abilities. Ryoma, so much utility with the Serelda's Grudge slow onto Cody's son. He's not a part of this fight at all, but from here, Cody's son shielding and the teamwork from Takeover and Hyper to get over the wall is just crazy. And then I'm actually curious how Cody's son ends up living this entire time. He gets away from Tenacity.
He broke his ankles! No, man, you can't do it to him like that! Oh, Jesus.
That's amazing!
Oh.
I didn't see that initially. That's so funny. They got the Drake too, Rafa. TSM denied the soul too, also. Oh, man. This is so back and forth. I want to see the gold graph for a game like this. It's got to be a roller coaster.
Yeah, it's definitely bouncing back and forth. 42,000 to 40k, 2,000 in advantage for TSM Academy. The Baron has been started by 100 Thieves. The rest of TSM Academy are slowly collapsing. Monster's going to pop the teleport. Luger has the wall to be able to arcane shift forward. Ooh. Moonfall comes out as a re-engage. Popping the stasis to try and buy some time from Kenvi, has the flashback forward. Takeover's on the backline, finds Kenvi, but now he has to deal with Ryoma and Luger, who finds the shutdown onto the assassin. By Hyper, he looks for the heartbreak, gets the reset, and now he's Lucian. He's got the Soreller's Glove, he's got the utility, he's got the slow, and they have the damage! TSM Academy, again, wipe out 100 Thieves.
Look at those resets from Hyper on this Viego. 5-0-10. He almost has 100% KP in this game, Rafa. He is absolutely crushing it against the best team in the league, 100 Thieves Academy. Lose out, they get fully aced. And this mid-jungle duo for TSM Academy is just so lethal. All of these fights are just immaculate. And look at this, the teamwork. They're waiting for Takeover to spawn. You gotta give him the Baron. He crushed that last fight. There it is. 5 Baron buffs on the members of TSM Academy off of a beautiful fight.
Take a look at this fight once again, Smax, because you see the initial engage from 100 Thieves is potentially looking good, but Luger's had just arcane shifted over the wall, so he doesn't have access to follow up on the initial fight, and then Takeover comes in.
It's just so much damage from Macaulay. This champion is so brutal to have to deal with. And then Hyper, he's showing his skills on more than just Viego. He's turning into Diana, he's killing everybody. He's turning into Lucian. This guy is strong. You can see his champion pool in action in just one single game. And now he's Ezreal at the end too. He's so good at all of them.
100 Thieves now face a 5,000 gold deficit. They were one dragon away from Cloud Soul, but TSM back-to-back massive fights. Aces as well, and they're the ones with the lead now. The Baron on their side, and you can send Takeover into this top side because he has teleport. He can split push. He's so damn strong. He's got 2.5 items. He's got a Zhonya's and a stopwatch, both of them. So he has double stasis actives just in case things get really hairy.
Over up there with the double stasis, pushing in the top wave. It's a full turret taken down. 100 Thieves do still have quite the safety in their wave clear, so the mid lane turret is still alive, but still about 80 seconds remain on the Baron buffs for TSM. They still have a lot of time to work with if they do want to take down that mid lane turret eventually. Not necessary, but it certainly does feel good and opens up the map for you. And that part of the map is going to be very crucial, Rafa, because the Drake Soul is knocking on the door yet again. 50 seconds until 100 Thieves could potentially have that one. And Cloud Soul is one of those ones that it doesn't feel super powerful, but the extra cooldown on the ultimates makes you go for a lot more plays, and the movement speed is nuts, especially on a champion like Mundo, who all he can really do is run at you.
You have to go back to the beginning of the game where Ryoma, because of the matchup, was 50 CS, almost 50 CS over Takeover, pushing him out of lane. Never managed to find a solo kill on him or Cody's son as well. And Takeover's now at the point where he's the one that is threatening the backline. Cloud Soul is about to come online in the next 10 seconds here.
Starting to hurt. Even with the Teeth build starting up, Frozen Heart, Divine Sunder is going to be enough to make sure that TSM's health bars are softened up at least a little bit. But I don't know if it's going to mean enough when it comes to this dragon. The True Shot Barrage is also gone, so there's no way for Luger to steal this one away. It is going to be a denial yet again for TSM. 2 Cloud Dragons in a row. Now that their Baron has expired, they can use all of that gold that they worked so hard to get a bunch of items and come back on the map and do it again. These fights are seeming so strong and so one-sided for TSM.
Take a step back as teams are starting to slow down a bit. Under Thieves Academy, you know, the first fight that they lost, maybe in their heads they were thinking, okay, you know what, we just took a bad fight, we can still win these fights. And so the confidence level was enough to try and take the fight in the Baron pit, and that didn't work out too well. Now 100 Thieves are trying to play it slow. They're taking their opportunities a little bit more carefully as Ryoma opened up with the culling. Trying to get some pick damage on the Cody Sun and Haunter. It's not going to be enough to dissuade them anytime soon. 100 Thieves are just biding their time as they wait on resources to funnel into.
Forcing that heal out of Cody Sun isn't completely meaningless, so Ryoma going to feel okay about it. Really the same level of threat that Solution has been for the remainder of the game. Well, it was a very strong start for 100 Thieves. Sort of slid back a little bit to the huge teamwork and fighting power of TSM. It's been a bit since we've seen one of those. It's been a little bit of a lull state in this game. Both teams are trying to collect themselves and be as powerful as they possibly can for the next fight that will likely take place around this Baron up in about a minute's time. And the key members that we have to look out for are, again, Clover and Hyper. Does so much damage in such little amounts of time, but Ryoma, Luger, Kenvi, these players are all playing champions that are super mobile and can be very tricky to lock down. So it is still going to be quite the feat for TSM to accomplish it, but certainly set themselves up for success with the last few points.
100 Thieves currently just trading waves back and forth. Vision control is mostly on TSM Academy's side as they have taken the opportunity to clear out the majority of this jungle. Yerson trying to lock down Poom. Thankfully, he is playing Braum, so that Unbreakable Shield is able to mitigate a lot of the damage that he just took on the back end. Control wards trying to be fought over at the moment. This is the stranglehold that TSM Academy need to be able to enforce to choke out the Vision away from 100 Thieves Academy. Make sure that they cannot face check this Baron without threatening their lives.
Takeover is on a easy flank right now. Can't really move anywhere because there is a lot of vision traps that would spot him out immediately, but still very sneaky. Haven't seen him yet. He dodged out from the sweeper. They don't know he's there at all.
And Luger and Ryoma, once they expose themselves, this will be an amazing pick. Yerson is just getting vision control for them. Haunter, now Takeover's going to be spotted. Flash stun onto Ryoma. Takeover makes his approach, makes the perfect execution onto the backline, and Ryoma's gone. Takeover, along with TSM Academy, pull off a beautiful flank in
Cody,
the jungle of 100 Thieves Academy. I'm at a loss for words, Smacks, of what just transpired.
Takeover just mission impossibled his way to potentially a full victory in this game 1 of the best of 2 against the best team in the league, Rafa. Takeover is just so strong and such a breath of fresh air for this squad. They might just end it right now.
Between him and Hyper, the two newest additions to this Academy roster, together as a duo, they have completely revitalized the TSM Academy squad, and they have successfully taken a game off of the best team in Academy.
This is why we popped off when we saw Takeover on the roster sheet for today. I mean, man, that play speaks
Even my
for
camera
itself.
broke because of how good that game was for TSM Academy, man. Like, what else do you want us to say?
That play speaks for itself, but I'm gonna keep speaking about it anyway until the stream's over, probably, because that was just so cool.
Drop the bar, Smacks.
Staying in that bush, in that pocket where he was not able to be spotted. And Hunter Thieves, they just did not keep tabs. They did not check and see where everybody was. They were not ready for a Takeover to pop out and just insta-kill everybody with this Akali damage. And this is the guy who took a beating in the lane as well. Ryoma was crushing it in the CS department, in the pressure department, in the gold department. Every single thing was going Ryoma's way in this lane. But it's these clutch moments, these clutch assassinations, and these huge calls that nobody would think of that make me so excited for Takeover and make me so excited that TSM Academy is in form.
That is the second time that we saw this game that Takeover took a long route around the jungle quadrant and being able to find 100 Thieves Academy and waiting patiently for the fight to break out and relying on the rest of his team to make the initial engage and to burn a lot of the cooldowns so that by the time Takeover emerged from the woodworks, there's no escapes that are available for Ryoma or Luger, and then it's easy pickings for the assassination to commence. And this is the start of beautiful team coordination that TSM Academy need to be able to really play on if they want to take down this 100 Thieves squad again going into Game 2, which we're going to be taking a break getting ready for, so make sure that you stick around, because we have to see if TSM Academy are able to completely sweep the best team in Academy.